Today, my roommate caught me having sex while watching gay movies. At first, I thought he would discriminate against me and tell everyone else, but the reality is that he ended up doing something unexpected. Stay until the end to know this story. So make yourself comfortable, and we invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate the little bell so you don't miss any videos. It was an afternoon like any other. My roommate Alvaro had left early in the morning, and I thought he wouldn't be back until the evening. Sharing the apartment with him had been, in general, a good experience. He was a quiet, respectful, and somewhat reserved person, which gave me the space I needed to feel comfortable in our little routine. That afternoon, I decided to give myself a break. I had been avoiding confronting certain parts of myself for fear of what others might think, but in that moment I felt a kind of release. I sat down on the couch with my laptop and looked up a movie I had always wanted to watch. A gay story that had been echoing in my head for some time. The screen lit up the room, and soon I was immersed in the storyline, forgetting about the outside world. However, as I watched the movie, I got hotter and hotter, to the point where I couldn't take it anymore and started to do her. Are you liking the video so far? If so, leave us a like and subscribe. Let's keep going. Not more than 20 minutes passed when I heard the sound of the door. My heart skipped a beat. I slammed the laptop shut, but it was too late. Alvaro was there, standing in the doorway, keys still in his hand. His gaze went from the screen to my face, then back to the screen, which still showed the frozen image of the movie. There was no escape. "What were you watching?" he asked, crossing his arms. I swallowed saliva, looking for an excuse, but my mind was blank. My hands were shaking slightly, and the air seemed to have become thicker. "It's just a movie," I muttered, unable to look directly at him. Alvaro took a step forward and closed the door behind him. My thoughts were triggered. Was he going to judge me? To insult me? Anxiety gripped me, but what happened next left me completely bewildered. "Is it good?" he asked, in a neutral tone that I couldn't decipher. I looked at him confused. The question was so unexpected that for a moment I thought I hadn't heard correctly. Finally, I answered with a simple yes. Alvaro sat down on the couch next to me and pointed to the laptop. "Can I watch it with you?" I felt like my world was rocking. Not only had I not received the reaction I had expected, but now I was being invited to share something I had kept secret for years. I hesitated for a moment, but his expression was calm, even curious. I nodded slowly and opened the laptop again. The first few minutes were uncomfortable. I was too aware of every movement, every breath, every change in his posture. Alvaro, however, seemed completely relaxed. After a while, I began to forget my nervousness and let myself get carried away with the plot of the movie. Alvaro didn't make any comments or show any signs of discomfort. In fact, he seemed to be enjoying the story as much as I was. When the movie ended, he was silent for a moment. Then he turned to me with a smile. "It's a good movie. Thanks for letting me watch it with you." I didn't know what to say. I felt exposed and vulnerable, but at the same time relieved that nothing bad had happened. I thought that would be all. But then Alvaro took a breath, as if he was about to say something important. "Before we go on, we invite you to give us a like and subscribe. Let's continue. You know, I've always been afraid to talk about this, but I think it's time to be honest. I'm gay too." His words took my breath away. I would never have imagined it. Alvaro had always been discreet, almost hermetic about his personal life. But now, here he was, sharing with me an aspect of his life that he had probably kept to himself for a long time. "Really?" I asked, still processing what I had just heard. "Yes," he replied, looking down at the floor for a moment before looking back up at me. "And I think somehow seeing how you enjoyed that movie made me realize that I'm not alone, that I shouldn't be ashamed of who I am." The atmosphere in the room changed completely. I felt a connection with Alvaro that I had never experienced before. For years, I had feared that my sexual orientation would isolate me, but now, here was my roommate, opening up to me in a way I never would have imagined. We spent hours talking that night. He told me about his experiences, his fears, and the times when he had felt he couldn't be himself. I shared with him my own fears and the reasons I had kept my orientation a secret for so long. The conversation was liberating, as if we had both been carrying a similar weight and were finally able to let it go. The following days, our dynamic changed. There was a new trust between us, a kind of complicity that did not exist before. We began to spend more time together, talking, laughing, and discovering that we shared more in common than we had thought. That connection grew naturally, and before I knew it, my feelings for Alvaro began to change. One night, as we were preparing dinner together, I noticed how his eyes sparkled as he talked about something he was passionate about. I found myself looking at him in a different way, as if I was seeing someone completely new. I realized that I no longer just saw him as my roommate, but as someone with whom I wanted to explore something more. Don't forget to subscribe and like us for more content like this. Let's keep going. It wasn't long before those feelings became apparent. One night, while watching another movie together, our hands accidentally brushed. Neither of us moved, and that small gesture became a bridge to something more. I turned toward him, and our gazes met. There was a mixture of nervousness and desire in his eyes that mirrored exactly how I felt. "Is it okay if I do this?" he asked, approaching slowly. I didn't need to respond with words. I closed the distance between us, and our lips met in a kiss that was both a beginning and a confirmation of what we both felt. It was soft, full of emotion, and marked the beginning of something that would change our lives forever. From that point on, our relationship evolved. We decided to take things slowly, exploring what it meant to be together and supporting each other every step of the way. What started as an awkward accident on the couch ended up becoming one of the most meaningful experiences of my life. Alvaro not only discovered me watching a movie, but he also helped me discover myself. And in the process, we found something neither of us expected: love. As our relationship progressed, something inside me changed profoundly. What had begun as an unexpected connection with Alvaro transformed into something much bigger, more meaningful than I had ever imagined. Not only were we roommates who had shared a moment of vulnerability, but now we were two people exploring a love that seemed as unlikely as it was perfect. After that first night we kissed, natural questions and fears arose. What would this mean for our living together? How would we handle our emotions living under the same roof? We decided to approach everything honestly. We promised each other that we would talk openly about how we felt, without judgment or rushing. That promise was our foundation. One of the things that surprised me the most was how easy everything became with Alvaro. There were no tensions or awkward silences. On the contrary, every day was full of new surprises. He showed me his most authentic side, and I did the same. For the first time, I felt I could be myself with someone without fearing rejection or judgment. I discovered in Alvaro a gentleness and patience that gave me peace, something I had never found before. One day, as we were walking in the park near the apartment, Alvaro suddenly stopped and looked at me with a seriousness I had not expected. "You know something? I never thought that sharing an apartment with someone would change me so much. And now I can't imagine my life without you. If you liked the video and this content brought you value, leave us a like and share it with your friends so they don't miss it.